Alright, so the under rupees 25,000 price bracket is definitely heating up. There's a lot of competition going on there, and while you have the legendary devices like the Realme GT Master Edition and the Moto H20 Fusion, you have a lot of newcomers in the market. You have the likes of the Xiaomi 11i and the Realme 9 Pro Plus and the newly introduced OnePlus Nord CE 2. So we decided how about comparing the 9 Pro Plus with the Nord CE2 to decide which phone makes more sense for you guys. And well, that's what this video is all about. This is one from GTR and you're watching my in-depth comparison of these two phones after a week of heavy testing. So without wasting any time, let's just jump right into it. Alright, so first things first, let's start by talking about the design of these blue phones. And honestly, it's a very close call. I mean, the 9 Pro Plus definitely feels a bit more flashy, well, looks a bit more flashy, but the in-hand feel is comparatively better as compared to the Nord 2 CE. Also, for the rest of this video, I'll be referring to this as the Nord and this as Realme, simply because it's easier. Both of these have long names and I don't want to waste my time in the nomenclature. Anyway, both the phones have Gorilla Glass 5 protection up front, and interestingly, I checked with the brand about it, and it turns out that the Nord CE2 does in fact have Gorilla Glass 5 protection on the back as well. Now it appears, and if I'm being very honest with you, it even feels like plastic, but I mean, if the brand says that yes, it is Gorilla Glass 5 glass, so I mean, I think I'll just have to take their word for it. But yeah, when I have both the devices in front of me, this one feels like proper glass. This one feels more like, you know, those epoxy bills that you have on top of wood. This feels just like that. It just does not feel like a glass phone to me. The Nord is comparatively lighter and slimmer, but the back picture, like I said, feels better on the 9 Pro Plus. The one thing about the 9 Pro Plus is that it has a very flauntable and flashy design, while on the other hand, the Nord CE2 definitely looks far more minimalistic. So yeah, at the end of the day, design is always going to be subjective, like I always say. So you can go with either device, they're both fingerprint magnets, and at the end of the day, you can just pick any phone. You won't really be disappointed by which one you pick. They're both equally compact, they're both equally ergonomic, they both offer a good in-hand feel. Sure, personally, I would pick the 9 Pro Plus here, but that's only by a very slight margin. It's not to say that the 9 Pro Plus has a very distinct advantage over the Nord in terms of design. It's a very slight advantage. Speaking of slight advantage, one slight advantage that the Nord could have had would have been if it came with an alert slider, which this is missing like its predecessor. And I mean, come on. OnePlus is known for certain things, and if you're just going to miss out on that, then it just loses that whole feel, right? Anyway, in terms of connectivity, you get a 3.5mm headphone jack on both the devices, and they're both 5G devices. However, the Nord has support for 8 5G bands, while the Realme takes things up a notch by giving you support for 13 5G bands. Now moving along, let's talk about the display. Both the devices come with a 6.4-inch AMOLED 90Hz panel. And to be honest, it's really hard to separate them. They're both equally bright and you don't get any issues on either of them. Both the panels support wideband L1 and content consumption works well on both. Once again, Realme has a slight advantage here simply because it comes with stereo speakers, so the overall content consumption experience is better on the 9 Pro Plus as compared to the Nord CE2. I mean, realistically speaking, I would have appreciated if both the devices came with 120Hz panel. 90Hz just doesn't feel right in 2022 at this price point. Now, one thing that I would like to highlight is that both the phones come with in-display fingerprint scanners, so that's good. Some might call it a slight advantage, that the fact that Realme has a heart rate sensor thanks to its inbuilt fingerprint scanner. Honestly, I couldn't care any less about it. It's at this point, especially at this point, it's a gimmick, doesn't really add much value to the phone. So don't think that you can pick up the 9 Pro Plus for that feature. Alright, so next up, let's talk about the cameras. Now on the Realme 9 Pro Plus, you get a 50MP primary sensor with OIS, while on the Nord CE2, you get a 64MP primary sensor with EIS. Other than that, they both have the same 8MP ultrawide sensor with a 2MP macro sensor, and up front, they both come with a 16MP selfie shooter. Now in daylight shots, the Nord CE2 has better HDR. Now this is something that I expected because as we highlighted in our previous comparison video of the 9 Pro Plus with the GT Master Edition, the 9 Pro Plus's HDR performance is quite buggy. And that's evident here. Now I'm not saying that the Nord does an excellent job, but in comparison, it is definitely better. Thankfully for Realme though, in every other department, it clearly wins. The shots are better detailed, have better colors, and human shots also look better. The skin tones are well highlighted, and the edge detection for portrait mode looks good too. Now selfies are a bit of a subjective taste here, with each photo having some slight pros over the other. So it's not like there's a clear winner here. I'll let you guys decide which shot you prefer more. Speaking of letting you guys decide, you don't have to pause the video. We always leave a direct download links to all of the camera samples taken from the phone directly for you guys to download and analyze for yourself. Now moving along for low light shots, once again the 9 Pro Plus excels, benefiting massively thanks to its OIS sensor. The shots have very little noise, better illumination, and overall the night mode shot also looks far more stable simply because it is able to cancel out all the jerks. And the OIS sensor also comes in handy for videos here, producing a stable and more detailed video. So yeah, clearly the 9 Pro Plus excels in the camera department here. Alright, so next up let's talk about the performance of both the devices. The Realme comes with the MediaTek Dimensity 920 processor, while the Nord comes with the MediaTek Dimensity 900 processor. They both come with UFS 2.2 storage, and that's about it. Now, as far as benchmarks are concerned, yes, the Realme has a slight advantage, but that's basically because you get a higher clock speed on the performance scores. Other than that, the Dimensity 920 and 900 are basically the same processor with the same GPU, so get equal performance, no issues whatsoever. Even the gaming performance is similar here, so there's hardly anything to separate on the devices here. The one thing that can be called as a difference maker is, well, the software here. The 9 Pro Plus here comes with Realme UI 3.0, which is based on Android 12, while on the Nord CE 2, you get OxygenOS 11.3 based on Android 11. And fine, okay, you might say that it's still based from the same ColorOS base source, but Realme feels far more refined, more optimized, and the fact that it's based on Android 12 makes it all the more better. For the Nord, well, at least it's not as buggy as we experienced it on the OnePlus 9RT, but nonetheless, the fact that the OnePlus is launching phones with Android 11 right now feels kind of a shame. And it just feels like a bit of a shame and a bit of a bummer in the whole context of OnePlus. Like, OnePlus is known for certain things. It was built up by offering a superior software experience, which has just been downgraded. The Nord CE also misses out on the alert slider. Again, not living up to the OnePlus, well, signature design. Moving along, let's talk about the battery life here. Now, both the phones come with a 4500 mAh battery, and the 9 Pro Plus comes with a 60 watt charger, while the OnePlus comes with a 65 watt charger. Realistically speaking, yes, OnePlus does charge slightly faster, but nothing of significance. As far as battery backup is concerned, well, they both last the same. 1 day of heavy usage or 1.5 days of medium usage. So once again, you can go with either device there, no complaints on either ends. Which brings us to the pricing. Now, the Realme 9 Pro Plus starts at Rs 25,000 and goes all the way up to 29,000. The Nord CE2 on the other hand starts at Rs 24,000, and then there's a 8 plus 128GB variant that retails for 25,000. Alright, so when you compare the base variants, technically it's just a price gap of Rs 1,000. However, I would say that for even 1,000 rupees less, there is no significant value that the Nord CE offers here. I mean, like, you were just buying the Nord CE2 for the OnePlus brand. There's nothing OnePlus about this phone. The design, I mean, come on, seriously, do I need to say anything? The design is quite similar. The software experience is the same. The battery is the same. The charging speed's slightly better, but it doesn't matter. The display is the same. And the camera performance is better on the 9 Pro Plus. So yeah, take my advice, spend the $1,000 more and just buy the 9 Pro Plus instead. If you're eyeing the Nord CE2, I mean, I would easily recommend the 9 Pro Plus over it. And well, that was it. If you found this video helpful, make sure to let us know by giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel for more awesome tech content. Till then, this is Ivan from GTR, and I'll see you in the next one.